But one thing I want to jump into is CM, because I have heard horror stories about CM. I know that you've said a lot of people will go CM because they can't go on PM. Can you break down closed management for us, please?
All right. So CM in the state of Florida. So there's a few CM facilities. I think they just opened up a new one that was after I left. But when I left, there was still Santa Rosa. There was still Swanee. And they just opened up but they had closed a bunch of CM beds for a little while because there was a lawsuit that got settled out. So there was a reduction in the amount of CM beds, which I had spoke about before, is I believe that's another reason why the violence increased, because what will happen sometimes with some inmates, they don't want to check in because, their affiliation, they don't want to be seen as weak, they don't want to snitch. So they have what's called an honorable check-in. The little quotation marks. So what they'll do is they'll go to a CM facility, because if you're on CM1, you get housed alone. You don't have to worry about anybody cutting you. You don't have to worry about any of it, because when you come out of your cell, you're shackled, you're cuffed, your waist chained, you're all of it. You do your rec in your little cage all by yourself. Anywhere you go, you have security escorting you. So you're on PM even though you're on CM. So some people, what they'll do is they'll do what's an honorable check-in. They'll go catch a big enough DR. They'll stab somebody. They'll cut somebody good enough that they can go to a CM facility. And so that way they're not on PM, but they get all the protection of PM. Honorable check-in.
Now, I've also heard that I've really heard the horror stories of CM. I've heard that, because there's CM 1, 2, and 3, and there's different time amounts on each level, and then you have to go through them without getting any disciplinary reports. I've heard that there's guys that's been stuck back there for years and years. Like, is there even a max out to how long you can be on CM?
They changed it with that lawsuit that got settled out. It used to be that you could spend forever on CM. What happened was this lawsuit was settled out, and now there has to be a way to work yourself off the CM. You would think that that's just the positive. It's not. Some people want to stay on CM. They don't ever want to get off of CM. So now that we're forcing them off of CM, they're going to force us, or not us anymore, I'm not in it, but they'll force the Department of Corrections to put them back on CM by getting off CM and stabbing somebody else so they can go back.
So pretty much the cycle of what the Department of Corrections is enforcing is increasing the violence even more.
Yeah. And you have people that they should not be off the CM. They are dangerous. They are dangerous individuals. And my whole thing, I
know of a notorious inmate who is known for raping inmates, just flat out raping them. And he was on CM, and they were saying that while on CM, he was knocking out his bunkies and raping them while they were knocked out. And when he gets tired of them, try to get another one, he'll get put on CM1 or whatever. He'll do more time on that, get reduced down to 2 or 3, and just repeat the process. And he actually was at Appalachia right when I got Appalachia, but he was in confinement. And then I think he actually got sent back to CM again. He's been down for a while.
Yeah, you have some people. There was one, oh my God, this inmate was awful. Like, he was just a crazy gunner. He wound up going to CM for gunning. And like, it used to be easy to go to CM for gunning. It got much harder to go to CM for gunning. This inmate was always gunning. He gunned everybody and everything. I was walking by his cell. He was gunning me. I yelled at him, stop gunning me. I had to walk by, go back the other way. He was naked gunning me.
And then what a lot of people are surprised about too is you have inmates that gun other inmates. It's not just female staff. Like, they will gun anything moving.
He was like, he gunned everything and everybody. He could not. And then he wrote his statement, you get a DR, you get to write your witness, your statement about the DR. He said, better in my hand than in a man.
Wow. He's bold for that. Is there still a lot of violence within the CM?
Yeah, there's still a lot of violence. From what I understand, Swanee's died down a whole lot. Swanee's gotten a lot easier. From what I understand, Santa Rosa is still off the chain. There are issues there with the mental health staff where like uh, according to an article I had read, where like the mental health staff, like they were taking too long with an inmate or something like that, and like security staff got ticked off about it. And then there was like an allegation that there was like some sort of that the inmates were encouraged to assault that staff member. Yeah, so that and then like when nothing was done about it, a lot of the mental health staff did a walkout.
How is it in your experience for the inmates? Because I know a lot of people want to go CM just for the fact that no one else is going to contact you. No one else is going to hurt you. You're not going to be a victim in a sense. But how does it mentally affect people just being isolated like that for long periods of time?
CM, being in confinement is not a good thing. And I had people that they would say, "Oh, I want to do my last few months in a confinement. I just want to be able to relax and get my brain right and all this other stuff." And I'm like, you can't do that. You can't come out of a CM unit and be all right. Like, you just can't, because you're going already from a limited environment when you're leaving the prison system. There's not a whole lot of colors. There's not a whole lot of fragrances. There's not a whole lot of, everything is pretty much all a few colors, a few scents, all the same. Nothing is different. Then you go into the free world and there's colors everywhere and there's scents all over. Now imagine that. You came from GP where you had still more exposure to all that stimuli than coming out of a confinement unit or coming out of a CM unit. Now you leave one of those units and you go into the free world, take what you experience and magnify that by like a bazillion. And that's what you're walking into. And I would always try to tell people, do not go to confinement for your last few weeks. Don't. It's going to overwhelm you when you go into the free world. But do people listen?
I heard someone tell someone else that, the exact same thing. He was like, there is no point. It does not benefit you to go to confinement before you release. Oh, well, I just want to get away from everything and the distractions. And he was like, if you think you're distracted now, wait until you get out. Because it's going to be 1,000 times worse. And I remember when I got out, I went to a mall and it was overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, aside from the fact that there's females everywhere, and I'm just like, oh my God, they can wear that? That's legal? Like, there's no brown pants? But there was just so many different factors and people getting closer to you than you'd be comfortable with. And it's insane. It's an insane, undescribable feeling that I feel that most people can't relate to unless they've experienced it.
Yep. And that's why I have my YouTube channel. And I have my videos. I have my videos, and my first few videos were about crowded places and how to deal with crowded places when you're coming out of the prison system or you're working in the prison system. Because that's a big deal. Even like, I would always say, because I'd have off on the weekends, and I'd come back after the weekend and still like, I'd go to the mall myself and'd be like, why are people not moving out of my way? I don't understand what's going on here. Because in the prison, everybody moves.
We gotta go.
You have to move out of my way. I'm staff. You have to move. And so like, I'm in the mall and somebody just walks in front of me. I don't understand what's going on myself.
DR.
When I first stopped working in the prison system and people were calling me Michelle, I was like, who's disrespecting me like that?
Yeah, first names, we can't do none of that.
No, I was like, I need to go write a DR. I was like, wait a minute, I don't do DRs anymore. What is this?
That's crazy. So I mean, it really just affects y'all just as much as it affects us, because we see all the same things.
Yep. The difference is we get to go home.
Yeah.
Y'all had and we got choices. We had to, we could make choices about where we moved to. Y'all were stuck. If you were in that dorm, you were in that dorm. That was the end of that. So it's slightly
weird
different.
Because I found comfortability in myself. I found a sense of security when I was not in the open bay dorms. I hated that shit. But when my cell door locked and I knew I was locked in there, and at the time I had someone that I'm still very close with as a bunkie, We're like brothers, and I felt a sense of security in that cell. Even though I knew I was stuck, I knew that I was away from everything. The
Oh,
only
yeah.
thing I was scared of is if I drowned it, like if we got a hurricane and the whole cell filled up with water or something. But do you feel that with CM, with, you know, you're pretty much just chaining someone up anytime they move, you have 110% control of somebody, and even just for staff members on the compound, knowing that when you walk they need to move, when you speak they need to listen, do you feel that the power gets to a lot of people's heads as far as staff goes, and that there should be better screening for people that are employed within the Department of Corrections because of how that power can be manipulated and abused?
Uh, it would be nice if there were better screening, but the thing is the Florida Department of Corrections is so understaffed at this point
Yeah.
that they reduce the age. They reduce the age that people can work there. I don't think an
What is it, like
18-year-old.
18 now?
Yeah, I don't think an 18-year-old has any business.
At all.
They have no life experience to be supervising these type of effects. Like, it should not be happening.
When I was at Lancaster, they had a 19-year-old working in the confinement dorm, and he just started. He's got a can of dip. He doesn't even know how to put it in his mouth yet. The other COs are teaching him, and the COs would play around with him, with us, because I was in B dorm, which was the younger dorm, and it was the most wildest dorm. And they were like, "Oh, what would happen if he was in B dorm?" You know what would happen. You wouldn't make it inside a B dorm. We would rip you open in 2 seconds. And it was crazy. But yeah, like you said, they're so understaffed. You only have to have like a GED, and then you get like $1,000 just to sign up.
It's sad because they need staff. They really need staff, but the working conditions are terrible.
And that's why there's so many dirty COs.
Yep. And you can't get rid of dirty staff because you need somebody in your dorm.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. And it really sucks because there is a lot of good staff. And that was one of the things when I left. I felt really bad leaving some of the people. Like, you had talked about leaving people behind. I had to leave a lot of people that I cared about behind. Yeah. And that really, and because like when you're in it with your basically your family, it really sucks to leave your family behind because you know what you're leaving them with. Yeah. You know it, and it sucks because prison sucks. It sucks for everybody involved in it.
That's one of the main reasons I really want to put a lot of these videos out and spread the message and just spread the awareness. Because someone, you know, we pretty much generalize most people don't care at all. But there's someone that does, and there's somebody that's in a position of power that can make something happen. And I'm hoping that these videos, one of them they're able to come across and actually make a difference for the friends that I have and my brothers that I have that are still incarcerated, just to, you know, obviously some of them ain't coming home, but just to make the living conditions a little bit better. You know what I mean? Just to get rid of a lot more of the negativity and try to, I mean, I can't say that all of my friends are angels either, but it's just, it's tough knowing, and I know that I was full of rage a lot because of how I was treated by COs, and I took that out on inmates, which I shouldn't have done. Let's put the name of your YouTube channel out there. What is the name of your YouTube channel, and what is the purpose or the message behind your channel that you're trying to push out to everybody?
All right, my channel is I'm Free Now What, because I'm free, now what? A lot of people go home and they have no idea what the hell they're doing when they get out here. They thought it was going to be easy. Yeah, they think it's going to be easy. Oh, once I get outside the gate, everything's going to fall in place. It doesn't. It just doesn't. Like, life went on without you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your kids grew up. They grew up without you. The world went on. All of a sudden, now you come out. Nothing works the way that it used to. The buildings that used to be there are no longer there. The businesses have gone out of business. Everything is different. Yeah. And like some people, they come out thinking that everything's going to be simple, and it's not. And then people give up. And then also what I found too is I started my private practice in the community providing mental health. And my focus was for people coming out of the prison system and involved in the prison system. What I found is a lot of people don't want to go get mental health. So I put together this channel in order to address the needs of people that do need mental health that won't go get mental health. So I have different playlists for different topics. Right now, I just started it not too long ago, so I'm still building it. But what I have on there right now is about crowds and about PTSD. So eventually there's going to be social anxiety. There's going to be grief at the years that you've lost. There's going to be leaving criminal thinking behind. Some people still have criminal thinking patterns. They still think that they can get away with things. I'm like, how are you going to get, you got caught how many times? You're not a good criminal. Time to think of something else.
That's a high realization for a lot. Look, I've been a criminal for 20 years. I know what I'm doing. And then you get caught again.
Yeah. How good of a criminal are you?
Your resume just isn't cutting it. You're not built for the job.
Your Florida ID tag says D. D for dumbass. Like, come on. Like, but yes, you're a good criminal. Go back out there. Go sell drugs again. Good job. Yeah, but you can't, so all these different things. So that's what my YouTube channel is for, is to kind of bring this information and interventions to people that might not ever step in my office. Because, it's what people need. But, they're, for whatever reason, some people it's money. They don't have insurance. They can't afford it. Other people, it's the shame. They don't feel like they need any help. They feel like mental health, because unfortunately in the prison system, mental health for some people, it's seen as a game. We weren't seen as legitimate. We were just people to game for the thing. And they take that mentality out there, even though they really need help. And that's why I always like taking those ones. I always try to run it for a game, because I make them realize that they actually needed help, and then I'd actually give them help. And so that was kind of neat.
I think it's dope also because a lot of inmates and a lot of people that have been released, we're used to being told what to do, and we don't have the self-drive to just go and get ourselves help. We need to see our name on a call-out list and understand if we don't go to call-outs, we go to confinement, and there's an issue. And with you doing what you're going to do and building your channel with YouTube, you're pretty much letting them still have the comfortability of being home, but still have access to what they need, or at least videos that can make them reach out to you and furthermore get in contact and then progress with helping themselves and understanding that it is okay to help yourself. You need to love yourself before you can love anybody else. You need to make sure that you are okay before you can help anyone. And that was the main thing I wanted to do with my channel, is let me solidify what I have, and then I can bring on people that I know and help them as much as possible. And now I can even direct people to your videos to get that help, to get that understanding, especially if they're not comfortable stepping into an office or anything like that. So that is amazing.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And I always say I appreciate what you do. You do very awesome work. I'm always impressed. I've told that to you repeatedly.
I try. But hey, this has been an amazing interview, probably one of my favorite interviews, if not the favorite. Okay, so I'm gonna link your YouTube channel and your Instagram in the description. And then do you also have content on your Instagram that pertains to the channel, or?
I do somewhat. I have a lot of that is DBT, which is dialectical behavioral therapy. And that has a lot to do with emotional regulation, interpersonal relationships, reducing self-harming, and distress tolerance. So when life becomes overwhelming, DBT kind of teaches you how to manage that overwhelming feeling.
Do you have a ghost?
No, why?
I saw a shadow move.
That's my husband.
Oh, I was like,
he walks by.
I know she lives in the woods somewhere. What is going? Am I about to see some shit? Like
that was my husband. I'm gonna guess it was probably my husband walking by.
I was about to start signing. Like, look behind you. I wish I could take the bloopers from some of the interviews I do, because they're the funniest shit ever.
Why don't you?
I don't know. I don't know if everybody wants them out, because sometimes it's just like the video will trip and the face will be stuck like this. Like, it's just perfect moments. But all right, let me see if I can Woosah. My game face on, right? Like I'm about to go psych and do my whole
When they say the people who come to my office and be like, "I'm going psych," get the fuck out of here. You ain't going nowhere. I had one person, he took off his clothes. I said, "You still ain't going psych." Man, our orderly,
done.
our inmate orderly was like, "Damn, what the hell was that shit about?" Oh, I have a website.
Huh?
I have a website.
Oh, and you have a website?
And I have a website. What?
Right,
it's www.imfreenowwhat.com. And I also have a Facebook page, and that one is @leavingprisonbehind.
Awesome. So we will have all those links in the description for anybody that's interested, anybody that wants to reach out, and anybody that has been incarcerated and wants to help themselves, because that's one of the most important things you can do after being released. But thank you so much for coming on, and I hope to see you again.
All right. Take care, Jake.